Doesn't it seem surprising if I say that there's a group of individuals who, if contacted, can literally kill you, but the court won't prosecute them for the same? Yes, I'm talking about the Sentinelese living on the North Sentinel Island, part of the Andaman Island. For the last 60,000 years, they have not had any major contact with the outside world. The earliest encounter with them came through the Indian merchant ship Nineveh, which stopped working in the middle of the ocean, and therefore the passengers had to swim to the nearest island, which was none other than the Sentinel Island. But these people were attacked with bows and iron-tipped arrows. Similar other hostile instances took place when two fled prisoners were found dead on the island with arrows on their body and throat cut. But why do the Sentinelese hate the outsiders so much? There are a couple of reasons for the same. The Chinese and the Malaysian held the members of the tribe as hostages and they were sold off as slaves. They were used for testing out the medicines. Large-scale deforestation was taken out on the island despite their resistance. But the incident that stands out is that of the British naval officer Maurice Portman, who, in order to know more about the Sentinelese, took an elderly couple and 4 children into captivity. But surprisingly, the couple died and the children became increasingly sick, and therefore they were left back on the island. In independent India, Trinoknath Pandit made several attempts of establishing contacts with them by dropping off coconuts and other gifts in the water. It is interesting to know that the pigs gifted off to them were found buried in the sand along with the plastic toys. But they did really accept the coconuts and the metal pots and the pans. The major breakthrough came on 4 January 1991 when another Indian crew visited the island and dropped off coconuts in the water as usual. But this time something happened that never happened before. The Sentinelese came forward to take the coconuts. But what was so unusual this time? It was the presence of a woman named Dr. Madhumala Chattopadhyay in the crew. Maybe the Sentinelese sensed that the woman could not mean any harm. They even said something like Narila Jaba Jaba, which could be easily translated as give us more coconuts. And therefore, with the initial ice being broken, the Indian crew entered into the water to hand over the coconuts to the Sentinelese in person. Despite what can be considered as a step forward by the Sentinelese towards the outsiders, the attacks made by them never stopped. Neither did they ask the visitors to stay for a little longer. In recognition of this, the Government of India officially suspended all further attempts to contact the Sentinelese on the ground that such contacts might introduce diseases to the Sentinelese for which they might not have the required immunity. And at present, the Government of India maintains a 3-mile no-contact zone around the Sentinel Island. Despite the restrictions, the modern world being modern have tried to intrude into the primitive lifestyle of the Sentinelese. For example, certain years before, an American tourist who goes by the name of John Allen Shaw, who was completely aware of the consequences, visited the island with the aim to convert the Sentinelese into Christianity. According to the fishermen, he was attacked with the help of the arrows and his body was dragged along the ground. According to Trinoknath Pandit, since the Sentinelese have made it extremely clear that they do not wish to be contacted, we need to leave them alone. The population of the Sentinelese have declined drastically. The question that arises here is, can we bear the loss of the extinction? And the answer is clearly we cannot. Therefore, what is needed is introspecting the so-called modern notion of civilizing them. At the same time, we need to be much more accepting towards our differences, both ideological and cultural.